Okay, I got a lot going on today. However, I figured while I'm getting ready, I could shoot off another chapter. So where we left off was I'd found the messages between this Maureen woman who was a very special person to Brian, and I just want to touch on that. You know, these women are so fucking stupid, like, in my opinion. I mean, if some guy was trashing on his woman like that, to me, I'd be thinking, wow, like, why is he with her then? You know, I don't see myself, like, pitying someone who would be taught. Immediately, I'd be thinking, wow, that's, like, not nice. That's, like, not a good thing that he's trashing on his current girlfriend. You know, planning to have to talk with me when he's not with her. But, you know, she obviously didn't have those thoughts. Even though she apparently had some experience with a liar. You know, and, you know, the way she talked about me, like, just assuming things, oh, man, just, I looked at her Facebook profile. She was saying about me that I was screaming for attention and begging for anyone to ask me for a fuck, okay? Because of the half nude or very little clothed photos of me that Brian had posted to Facebook, which, again, I think he didn't correct her on that because it would have made him, you know, look kind of foolish about how he was complaining about me, and it would definitely make her feel like a dum-dum for what she had just said about me, and he didn't want to do that to her, so he let me look bad so that he could protect her from looking stupid, okay? That's what he did. That's what he did. Let's just be honest. And then on her profile, she fucking compares herself to some model. She puts her picture right side by side with some model and compares herself like they were even remotely the same. And she's telling the story of herself running down the street and how some guy was rubbernecking. Kind of like she was, like, trying to sound like she was complaining about it, but, you know, in reality, she's just trying to, you know, make herself seem irresistible. I don't know, but, honey, I didn't have to beg for attention on Facebook. I never have had to compare myself to some model or, you know, brag about how one guy had to turn his head to watch me. But yeah, you go ahead and call me desperate. Just, oh man, you know. How stupid can you be? How stupid can you be, really, when you're blinded by, what, admiration for some dude, or I don't know, blinded by your attraction, or I don't know. But come on, girls. Come on. If he's bitching about the one he's with and committed to, and you don't think he would do that to you? I mean, maybe, but likely, highly unlikely that he wouldn't do the same thing to you. I just, can't get over it. And, asking Brian why he would talk about me like that. Of course, he has no real answer. Because he can't say, well, I was just, I was trying to have this thing with Melanie. So, I had to make you look bad so I could act like, like she would be something worth waiting for, which is what he said. I mean, he can't say that to me. So he has to put it on me. Oh, you must have been doing something that day. Which, number one, is such a shitty, stupid answer. Especially if you can't tell me what it was I was doing. And secondly, do you think I don't have a memory? Like, no. You were just saying what you thought she wanted to hear. And that's the truth. I wasn't no crazy, wacky, jealous. I wasn't begging for you. No, honey, it was the other way around. But, I get it. You didn't want this chick that you were considering might be a possibility for you at some point. You didn't want to, make her feel however she would have felt if you had been truthful. I get it. And I'm going to kind of jump back and forth in the timeline here. And I don't want to make this video too long. But I did eventually reach out to Maureen. And this is what I said to her. Give me a second here. Okay. Maureen, we've obviously never met, but I've heard about you and how good of friends you and Brian were growing up. I want you to know that I saw all the messages you and Brian exchanged, and at the time, which was a while ago now, I was pretty heartbroken. I wish I could tell you what is up, but I can't, and I guess it's not your business, and on, but I want you to know I am not a bad person. There are two sides to every story. I wish you wouldn't assume things about me when you don't know me. I love Brian more than I can express, and in everything I do, I try to please him and our child. I'm striving for a healthy, secure, and safe life for our family. Brian is a beautiful person, but I promise you, he is far from perfect, and my heart breaks a lot. I don't know why I'm going on the impulse to send you this. He told me he'd want us to meet and that we would get along great. I don't know if that's true, but right now I'm very alone, scared, angry, hurt, and let down. At this moment, I feel like I'm on the verge of a breakdown, and the tears don't seem to stop. This is when Brody was just a baby. Okay. I have no real friends, it seems, and my man's word to me is not as reliable as I wish it was. Please don't take this message as a negative. I'm just a little out of my mind right at the moment, and when I saw what he wrote, my heart broke even more. I could give you details, but you probably don't care, and what's the point, I guess? Anyhow, for me, my family comes first. I asked Brian if he feels the same, and he says he does, but his actions tell me otherwise at times. It fucking kills me. Well, sorry for the long message. Just chalk it up to me being in a lot of pain and heartache and needing a little release. I may regret sending this, and just an FYI, Brian put... those pics of me online, not me. Please don't judge me. As you know, we don't know each other, and you have no idea what I go through every day for my family. I don't know how much more my heart can take. And there was a few reasons why I was feeling the way I felt, which I didn't feel was appropriate to share at that time. But obviously now I'm sharing everything. So obviously my my thoughts about that have changed. But there was a main thing that was going on at the time that I wrote that to her, which I'll explain later because it seems it's not, I don't want to put it right here yet. But she did respond. She said, "Oh, believe me, I know there are two sides. Well, it didn't seem like you knew that before. You were just taking his word. I always am rooting for you and Brian. Trust me, I was just glad to see him happy. No, you were saying that it was killing you that he was with a person like me, and that you were so sorry he was miserable. Remember? Maybe not. Okay. That is all I want for all of you. I wish the best for you both. If you ever need to vent, feel free to. I'm so sorry you guys are going through a tough time. Yeah, right. I hope that it passes quickly, and then, however she ended it. I regret the way I reached out to her. I wish I would have had the backbone and the self-worth and the, just grit to say to her, who the fuck do you think you are? First of all, I don't care what you and Brian had in the past. I don't give a fuck. You were talking about me as if you had any idea about me. You just, automatically took his word, which you couldn't even figure out may not be too reliable. You fucking trashed me for something I didn't even do, which made you look really fucking stupid. And you were telling my man that you wished you had found him before I did. So, I don't accept your bullshit. I wish I had done that. But as you can tell by what I actually sent, I wasn't up to the task for myself. Myself was down here compared to everyone else. And I, just didn't want to upset anybody, especially Brian. I so regret that I didn't send that to her the way I should have. Because now she's MIA on Facebook, so I can't send the right thing and make sure she sees it. But I would if I could, because I was stupid to be so, please don't judge me. No, I should have said, don't fucking judge me, you fucking bitch. But anyways, such as it is. So now back a little bit. When I was pregnant with Brody, me and Brian had that little room with the little kitchen part in the bathroom. And during my pregnancy, everything was okay. We didn't do too much. Just things that we had to do, appointments and stuff. And we did need money. We were pretty financially on the low side. So we decided that we would take the little money we had and invest it in some drugs and try to gain, earn money from that. And we did. Brian did really good, actually. He very quickly turned it around and we had money now. But it did make him backtrack a little bit. Not me. I was pregnant. I didn't do anything, but he, a couple of times was getting high, and it wasn't fun, but, I understood it. Addiction it is what it is. However, Brody was going to be born any day, and we were laying in bed, and all of a sudden I felt that gush of water, which was a new feeling to me, because with Jesse, they had to break my water. But with Brody, I was in bed, and immediately I got out of bed, and it was like a flood. And I called the doctor, and for whatever reason, they told me to go to the doctor's office, not the hospital. Why? I don't know. But it was probably a bad decision on their part, because I was leaking water everywhere. The hallways, the exam room. I made a mess there at the doctor's office. You know, but I'll never forget, I was on the phone with my mother, and who happened to be with my grandmother, I believe. And so I got to speak to my grandmother that day. It was March 22nd, 2012. It was in the 90s that day. It was a very hot day. And I will never forget speaking with my grandmother as I was about to have my second son. It would be her newest, obviously her newest great-grandchild, who she did get to meet. She came to the hospital. She held him when we had our little, because we had like a baby shower like after he was born at one of my cousin's beautiful homes, and she was there and she held him, and I have pictures of that. And she would be the last grandbaby. He would be the last grandbaby that she would ever meet in person. I miss that woman. I miss her. But anyway, Brian's mother was in the hospital with us. And Brian was right there all through the delivery. And he was perfect. And the medicine that I was on during my pregnancy, unfortunately, made it necessary for us to be in the hospital for a longer period of time than would be normal. Can't remember how long it was, at least a week, possibly going on 2. You know, the minute Brian left to go do whatever he was going to do, all of a sudden he stranded me. Like, he wasn't answering my calls. He was gone for days. And I obviously knew he was getting high, but I had no idea who he was with or what they were doing. You know, he left me in the hospital with our new baby for days. And it was fucking hell for me. I just didn't have one peaceful, happy moment. Because, you know, of course I'm thinking, is he in jail? Is he dead? You know, what's going on? What is he doing? And it sucked. It sucked that he would create this beautiful baby with me as we're older now, because he had children when he was very young too. Now we're in our 30s and we're having this baby, and you leave me at the hospital with him to go do who knows what with who knows who. But, you know, it wasn't anything new. That was what he did. He would take off and just leave me behind to, you know, constantly be wondering where and what and who and everything, you know, and it was never fun. It was fucking hell every time. And it was now worse. Now it was even worse because we had this baby together. And I didn't want to be a single mother again. Been there, done that. Didn't want that to be the case this time, especially now. I'm older. Grow up. Can we please grow up? You know, but of course it's a memory I'll always have, that he decided to, you know, let the drugs take over and he could leave me and our new baby behind. Not just me, but our baby Brody as well. And then after, you know, well, and I would just be glad when he came back. I'd just be elated that he wasn't dead or in jail, or, you know, that would be the most prominent feeling I'd have. Thank God he's back. I've got him back again, you know, till the next time he slips away from me. That's how it was. And then, so we were still in that one room, and I was getting anxious because I knew it wasn't the kind of place that a new baby could start to like crawl in and really move around in. And so somehow, through Brian, someone he knew had a beautiful home in another city. I think it was the city, Wyndham. and he couldn't afford his mortgage payments. So me and Brian were going to go in and pay the mortgage, and that man would be living down in the basement, and we'd have the house. And I was really excited about that because it was a beautiful, nice home in a beautiful, nice neighborhood in a dead-end street. It was nice. We were mostly okay. And Brian, he loved Brody. I mean, just was so happy to have this new son. I know he wanted a girl, but he didn't seem disappointed at all that it was a son. And he was just happy. He would try to do anything for that little boy to make that baby smile. And, you know, he did some good things for me, too. He would take me shopping and, you know, just special things. He had a t-shirt made up with our picture and Brody's picture, and, you know, a necklace, I think, just stuff like that. But he was dealing. He was still dealing, and that was our main income at the time. And of course, with dealing, he was going to be using too. And I sometimes would use with him too, like when we'd be able to get Brody to my mother for a few days or whatever. But in this period of time, yeah, there'd be other girls. One of Brian's friends or acquaintances, I don't know, friends, I guess, who also was a drug dealer, had this girl that he brought around. And her and Brian, like right from the get-go, pretty much, were really flirty with each other in front of me. We ended up spending days at her family's camp. I felt like the third wheel. I was the mother of his new baby, and that's how I felt. I knew there was, you know, a spark between them, and they didn't fucking do a very good job at hiding it from me at all. Okay? Not at all. In fact, one night, while everybody was down in the basement doing drugs, and I was up in the house with our baby, all of a sudden I see the group. They're in the driveway, and I'm watching from our front door in the driveway. Brian's got his hands all over this girl, her chest, her back, her head, just touching her, putting his hands all over her. Right in front of me. I don't know if he realized I was watching, but I was. And supposedly why he was doing that was because she had taken too much. But there were many other people around. Why did it have to be him who put his hands all over this girl? Gee, I wonder why. He did take off for days. I wouldn't know where he was. Could he have taken off and been with that girl? Absolutely. I mean, they had this spark that was undeniable, and they couldn't hide it. And do I think that that's a possibility? Absolutely. And again, I would just be elated that he'd finally come home and be home, and, you know, that he wasn't dead or whatever. I was just so much more accepting of that. Like, once it was over, I'd be in hell while he was, you know, gone. Then he'd come home and I'd be relieved. More relieved than angry or anything like that. And also, I was very careful about how I acted around Brian because of his temper. It was scary to me. He could scare me. I mean, just when he got really angry, his eyes change. They looked like a crazy person's. I swear to God, you can tell. I mean, just look at his face and you can tell he's in rage. And that scared me. Just him even like seeming to go to that a little bit would make my stomach drop. I don't recall him putting his hands on me while we lived there at all, ever. Not that I recall. But I still had the fear of his rage. What I referred to in my messages to Maureen is the next thing that I want to tell. But I'm going to save it for next time because now we're at 25 minutes and I've got stuff to do, and I also have to set up because I want to show some messages and stuff that I don't have prepared yet. So as soon as I can get that together, I will be doing the next chapter. And thank you, anyone who's listening to this. Thank you. I know it's, you know, a process, and like, it's kind of a long story, but I really appreciate anyone hearing it. That's my main goal here, is just to be heard by people. So I appreciate it. I thank you. And until next time.